All right, the Detroit Lions just keep getting more good news coming out of camp. And look, I get it. I like to take a positive spin on these things, but man, oh man, sometimes it gets easier. And everything I'm seeing right now is positive. Even the negative stuff is positive. And we're going to get into that. I'm going to give you 3 good things coming out of camp in this video, more and more and more good news. So we're gonna keep it good in this one. Before that, if you were new to this channel, my name's Craig. Me and my buddy Chris started this, I don't know, 4.5, 5 years ago. I don't know what it was, but I know it was after COVID. And I know that it has been a blast being part of this community with all of you, almost 30,000 strong. We want to be your go-to source for Lions football. And so we like to cover the news that not everybody does. So here we are. Let's talk about it. And if you have heard recently, things have been getting chippy. All right, things have been getting chippy at the Detroit Lions practices. There's no other way to say it. They've been chippy. And Dan Campbell earlier and again in the most recent practice is needing to dial back practice or even full-on stop practice. He's had to kick players out of practice, as far as I know, one so far, because they wouldn't dial back the intensity. And I'm sitting here wondering why. And here's the reason it's good news in 2 different ways. Number one, this is a team that had a 15-2 year. They frustratingly lost in the NFC divisional game, in the divisional round of the playoffs. Teams that don't have that grit, teams, and I'm not going to apologize for saying grit, teams that don't have that winning mentality could sulk on it. But this is a team that's clearly hungry. They come back, it's the middle of July, and they're already fighting with each other. Not fighting with each other because they don't like each other, but they're fighting because they want to win, because they are so desperate to take that next step. And I was worried about that. You lose a couple coordinators. You know, Jared Goff has a baby. Guys get older. You're losing Frank Ragnow. Like Alex Anzalone has this weird contract thing going on. But everything we see is that this team is going really hard. And Aiden Hutchinson actually gave a quote to explain why he thinks things are going on and why things are getting so chippy. And here's what he said. He said, I think we weren't very happy with our turnover ratio last year. We think we could get more strip attempts. I know Kirby and BB, that's Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch, had a bunch of interceptions and stuff. Besides that, just looking to get more production all across the board as a defense, punching the ball out and really just trying to go after the ball. I think you're seeing it out there, and it's a little bit hard to go after the ball, but also not exactly bring someone to the ground. So it can be a little tricky sometimes, but at the end of the day, the intentions are where you want them to be in order to take this defense to the next level. All right, let's talk about this for a second. So basically what Aiden Hutchinson is saying, we want to be a ball-hawking defense. This reminds me, I don't like this team. I hate this team. Remember the peanut punch? All right. Peanut Tillman or whatever from the Chicago Bears that come from behind, punch, right, and dislodge the ball. There are defenses that it seems like year in, year out have a knack for creating turnovers. There just are. And there are defenses that seem to not be able to create turnovers. Turnovers change a game so quickly. And you can get turnovers in a few different ways, right? It can be just a simple mistake by the offense. It can be an interception, right, where you make such a great play, but it's not necessarily a quarterback mistake. It's just a great play by the defense. And then there is finding a way to get a ball dislodged from a ball carrier, whether it's a quarterback, whether it's a wide receiver, whether it's a running back. And that is what this team wants to do. So imagine you're at practice and you catch the ball, and what you're used to doing is turning upfield and running, but now you have a defender diving at you, slapping, punching, hitting at the ball. You're not wearing pads. You're getting annoyed with it as an offense. By the way, it's helping the offense. It's helping the offense whether they know it or not. They never get to relax with ball security. even when they're in shells, even when they're just wearing their helmet and they have no shoulder pads and it's not full contact, they still need to protect that football. So this is good for the offense as well, knowing that the defense is ball hawking, but it's going to cause tensions. I love that. This is good news. It tells me that the team is hungry. Okay, it tells me that the team is hungry, and it tells me that that quite frankly, Kelvin Shepard's doing a great job as a defensive coordinator. He's realizing exactly what he needs to do. Exactly what he needs to do and able to create quick change of events to a football game. So cool. So cool. All right, another good news. This is the third one because I thought that the first one was good in two ways. The third thing is that Tate Ratlage is feeling much more natural to the center position. All right, to the center position. I found this on Pride of Detroit. Jeremy Reisman actually made this one. It said Tate Ratlage has already made some strides at the center position as the Lions continue to try him out. All right, here's what he said in a quote. He said, when asked if he can sense a significant difference, he said, "It is a lot better than I was doing in the spring." He said, "It's becoming more natural to me." I guess I could put this quote up here. "It's becoming more natural to me, the playbook, getting used to it. So it's definitely a lot easier now than it was in the spring. Thank you. Thank you." He said, "It's only 2 days." So obviously this quote is older, but it's where it's been versus the spring. Coach Dan Campbell said, it already feels better. It already feels more natural. All right. Here's what I need to talk about in this. If both Tate Ratlage is saying it feels better and more natural, and Dan Campbell is saying it feels better and more natural, guess what? It feels better and more natural. We don't have to question if Tate Ratlage has the athletic ability to play center. We don't need to question if Tate Ratlage has the ability to block, run, or pass. We know he can. We saw him do it from the guard position consistently in college. None of us we all thought when we drafted this guy, along with all the national analysts, along with obviously Brad Holmes, that this was as close to a can't-miss interior offensive line prospect as you can get. And you can ask me the question, well, then why didn't he get picked till 57th or whatever he got picked? Because he's an interior offensive lineman. That's why. Most interior offensive linemen don't even get anything. All right. They don't even start to get picked until very late in the first round. Second round is interior offensive lineman heaven for the NFL draft. That's where you find them. If you want to find a starting caliber tackle, it's a first round pick. If you want to find a starting caliber guard or center, it's a second or third round pick. So he's right in the middle of where he should be getting drafted, and he fell. That's why he traded up. So this is good. Dan Campbell doesn't say that. So I think there's a lot of good news happening. Chippy practices and comfortability, if that's a word, with our new rookie center are the things we absolutely needed to see. Knowing the struggles that our defensive interior might have, I don't think it's going to be as bad as we think. You want a defense that's ball hawking, that's turnover prone. And knowing the loss of the interior of our offensive line in Frank Ragnow, all you want to hear is good news on Ratlage. Can't wait to watch him in a few days at the Hall of Fame game. All right, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.